My name is Rebecca Hayes. I'm 32 years old, and 3 hours after watching my husband Marcus take his last breath in my arms, his lawyer called me with a message that shattered everything I thought I knew about the man I'd loved for 9 years. His voice was shaking when he said, "Mrs. Hayes, you need to come to my office immediately. Come alone. What I'm about to show you, it changes everything." When I walked into that office, what I found waiting for me, documents, recordings, evidence, destroyed me in ways I never imagined possible. But before we continue, drop a comment telling us which city you're watching from. And please hit that like button and subscribe so this story reaches more people who need to hear the truth. 3 hours after holding Marcus as he died from what doctors called sudden cardiac arrest, I sat in our bedroom staring at his empty side of the bed. The sheets still smelled like him. His reading glasses were still on the nightstand. His coffee mug from yesterday morning was still in the sink. People kept telling me he was at peace now, that he was watching over me from heaven, that I should be grateful we had 9 beautiful years together. But how do you make peace with losing your 35-year-old husband with no warning? How do you survive when the love of your life collapses in your kitchen on a Tuesday morning and dies before the ambulance even arrives? My name is Rebecca Hayes, and I'm a high school English teacher. I've spent the last 9 years building a life with Marcus. We met in college. He was studying business. I was studying literature. We were opposites in so many ways, but somehow we just fit. Marcus worked as a financial advisor. He was brilliant with numbers, charming with clients, and everyone loved him. We just bought our dream house 6 months ago. We were talking about starting a family. Everything was perfect. And then one morning he was making breakfast and he just collapsed. I screamed. I called 911. I did CPR like they taught us in those mandatory training sessions, but nothing worked. He was gone before I could even understand what was happening. The house was still full of people. My mother was organizing meals. My best friend Sarah was answering phone calls. My sister was handling the funeral arrangements because I couldn't even think straight. And Marcus's business partner, Daniel, was there too. God, Daniel had been so supportive. He'd handled all of Marcus's client notifications. He'd taken care of closing Marcus's office. He kept telling me how Marcus was his best friend, how devastated he was, how if I needed anything at all, he was there for me. He even offered to help me sort through Marcus's financial documents when I was ready. I believed every word. Why wouldn't I? Daniel and Marcus had been partners for 5 years. They'd built their financial advisory firm together from nothing. Marcus trusted him completely. But then I got that phone call. I was sitting on the couch, surrounded by sympathy cards and casserole dishes, when my phone rang. The caller ID said, "Richard Chen, attorney at law." I didn't recognize the name, but I answered anyway. My voice was hoarse from crying. "Hello? Mrs. Hayes, this is Richard Chen. I was your husband's attorney. I'm so deeply sorry for your loss, but I need you to listen to me very carefully." His voice was urgent, almost frightened. "I need you to come to my office right now. Don't tell anyone where you're going, not your family, not your friends, and especially not Daniel Patterson. This is a matter of life and death. Your life, Mrs. Hayes." My heart started pounding. "Mr. Chen, what are you talking about? What's going on?" "I can't discuss it over the phone. Marcus left something for you. Instructions, evidence. Please, Mrs. Hayes, come alone. The address is..." And he gave me an address downtown. I sat there for a moment, completely confused. Marcus had a lawyer I didn't know about? Evidence of what? And why did he sound so scared? Every instinct I had was screaming that something was wrong. I grabbed my coat and my keys. When I came downstairs, Daniel looked up from where he was talking to my mother. "Rebecca, where are you going? You shouldn't be driving." I forced a smile. "I just need to pick up some paperwork from the school. Marcus's life insurance requires my employee information. I'll be back in an hour." Daniel stood up. "Let me drive you. You're in no state." "No," the word came out sharper than I intended. "I need some air. I need to move. I can't just sit here." My mother looked worried, but she nodded. "Be careful, sweetheart." I walked out and got into my car, my hands shaking so badly I could barely get the key in the ignition. The drive downtown felt like a dream. My mind was racing. What could Marcus's lawyer possibly have to tell me that was so urgent, so dangerous? The address led me to a modern office building. I took the elevator to the 7th floor and found Richard Chen's office. The door was unlocked. When I walked in, a man in his 50s with graying hair and tired eyes stood up from behind his desk. "Mrs. Hayes, thank you for coming. Please sit down and lock the door behind you." I locked the door and sat down, my heart hammering. "Mr. Chen, what's going on? Why did you say my life was in danger?" He pulled out a thick folder and a small recording device. "3 months ago, your husband came to me. He was terrified. He told me he'd discovered something about his business partner, Daniel Patterson, something that put his life in danger." My blood ran cold. "What are you talking about?" Mr. Chen pressed play on the recording device, and Marcus's voice filled the room. My Marcus, talking from beyond the grave. "Richard, if you're playing this for Rebecca, it means I'm dead. It means Daniel got to me before I could stop him. Rebecca, baby, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for everything that's about to come out. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner, but I need you to know the truth." I was frozen, tears streaming down my face, listening to my dead husband's voice. Marcus's recording continued. "6 months ago, I discovered that Daniel has been embezzling money from our clients, millions of dollars. He's been running a Ponzi scheme, taking money from new investors to pay old ones, skimming off the top. When I confronted him, he threatened me. He said if I went to the authorities, he'd destroy everything. He'd frame me for the crimes. He'd make sure I went to prison. But Rebecca, I couldn't let him keep stealing from people. These are retirees, families, people who trusted us with their life savings." So I started gathering evidence. I made copies of everything: bank statements, wire transfers, emails. I documented every fraudulent transaction. I was going to turn it all over to the FBI. But Daniel found out. Last week, he cornered me at the office. He told me I had 2 choices: stay silent and help him cover it up, or have an accident, a fatal accident that would look natural, heart attack, stroke, something that wouldn't raise suspicion. My hand flew to my mouth. No, this couldn't be real. Marcus's voice cracked in the recording. "Rebecca, I'm so scared. If you're hearing this, it means he killed me. It means he probably poisoned me or did something to trigger cardiac arrest. I've hidden all the evidence. Richard has copies of everything. Baby, please go to the FBI. Show them everything. Don't let Daniel get away with this. And please be careful. If he knows you're onto him, you're in danger too." The recording ended. I was shaking violently, sobbing so hard I could barely breathe. Mr. Chen pushed a box of tissues across the desk. "Mrs. Hayes, everything Marcus said is true. I have bank records, emails, proof of Daniel's embezzlement. But there's more. I had Marcus's autopsy rushed through by a private examiner I trust. They found traces of a rare compound in his system, a toxin that induces cardiac arrest and metabolizes quickly. It would look like natural causes unless you knew to look for it specifically." "Daniel murdered my husband?" I whispered. "Yes. And according to Marcus's notes, you're the only other person who has access to the firm's complete financial records through the shared accounts Marcus set up for estate planning. If Daniel knows you might look at those records, you're a liability." "We need to go to the police right now." Mr. Chen shook his head. "Daniel has connections. Marcus suspected he had someone inside the local police department helping him cover his tracks. We need to go straight to the FBI. But first, we need to get you somewhere safe. Daniel can't know you're onto him." I thought about Daniel back at my house right now, comforting my family, playing the grieving best friend, offering to help me with Marcus's financial documents. He wanted access. He wanted to destroy any evidence I might find. "That monster is in my house right now," I said, rage replacing fear. "He's probably searching for the evidence while everyone thinks he's being helpful." Mr. Chen opened his laptop. Marcus anticipated that. He installed hidden cameras in his home office 3 weeks ago. I've been monitoring the feeds. Daniel has been in there twice since Marcus died, searching through files. We have video evidence of him trying to access Marcus's computer. Then we have him. Not quite. We need to catch him in the act of destroying evidence. Or better yet, we need him to confess. The FBI wants to build an airtight case. They want to catch not just Daniel, but everyone involved in the scheme, his accomplices, his connections, everyone. Mr. Chen pulled out another folder. Marcus left you detailed instructions. He knew you'd want justice, and he knew you were brave enough to get it. I wiped my face and opened the folder. Inside was a step-by-step plan. Marcus had thought of everything: how to secretly copy files from the firm's servers, how to wear a wire and get Daniel to confess, how to stay safe while building the case. My husband had spent his last weeks alive protecting me and planning to take down the man who killed him. "Mr. Chen," I said, my voice steady now, "tell me what I need to do." Over the next week, I became someone I didn't recognize. I played the grieving widow perfectly. I let Daniel comfort me. I let him offer to help with Marcus's affairs. And the entire time, I was wearing a wire provided by the FBI. I was copying files. I was gathering evidence. And I was waiting for the right moment. That moment came 8 days after Marcus died. Daniel asked to meet me at the office to go through Marcus's client files, said he needed my signature on some documents. The FBI was ready. They had agents positioned outside. I had a panic button in my pocket, and I had my husband's voice in my head telling me to be brave. When I walked into Marcus's office, Daniel was already there, and in his hand was a bottle of water he offered me with a smile, the same smile he'd given me 100 times. But now I knew the truth. Now I knew this man had murdered my husband, and I was about to make him pay for it. "Thank you for meeting me, Rebecca," Daniel said. "I know this is hard, but we have a lot to discuss, a lot to take care of." I took the water bottle but didn't drink it. "What exactly needs to be taken care of, Daniel?" And that's when his mask started to slip. That's when everything Marcus warned me about came true, and that's when I made sure that my husband's killer would never hurt anyone again. The rest of the story, how Daniel confessed on tape, how the FBI arrested him and 5 others involved in the scheme, how we recovered over $8 million for the victims, that's a story for another time. What matters is that Marcus didn't die in vain. He saved me. He saved countless others. And he made sure the truth came out. My name is Rebecca Hayes. I'm 32 years old, and this is how I discovered my husband was a hero, even in death. Did you like this story? And which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If this story touched you, please send a super thanks so I can keep bringing stories like this that matter. Thank you for your support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.